Welcome back, friends. We have already started with chapter number 2. It is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. I just let you know that what we have finished till now in chapter number 2. We have finished a reproductive part of an angiosperm, that is a flower. We have discussed the different parts of a flower: calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium. Then we have started with sexual reproduction, the events and processes. It follows the three processes: pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. It's like the other living organism who reproduces sexually. We have started with the first process, pre-fertilization, and in pre-fertilization we have finished with gametogenesis process, means a process of formation of a gamete that we have discussed. In the previous sessions, we have seen how the male gametes are produced in the pollen grains and how the female gamete is going to be produced in the ovaries. Now, once the gametes are going to be formed, this gamete needs to be transported, okay? And that is done by a process called as gamete transfer. Because you know that in pre-fertilization, the second one is gamete transfer. Because the ultimate process is the fusion of both these gametes, okay? And to fuse that, they should come together. And to come together, we have to transport the gametes. Usually what happens, the male gamete is a motile in nature and the female gamete is a stationary. But here, it is a flowering plant. It is an angiosperm. You know that we have learned in the chapter number 1. In angiosperm, male and female gamete both are non-motile. Okay? Both cannot move. Hence, there should be some mechanism that leads to a transfer of male gamete to a female gamete, and there should be a help that should be provided that leads to a transfer of male gamete to a female gamete. Okay, so how this process is going to occur, or who will provide a help, that we have to discuss today. Okay, so starting with that, what is the transfer process is called? The transfer process is called as pollination. What it is called? Pollination. So what is a pollination process? Pollination, that means transfer of pollen grain. From where the pollen grain is produced? From anther to stigma of a carpet. This process is called as pollination process. Clear, students? So what is the pollination process? Pollination, that means it is a transfer process, a gamete transfer process. How it occurs, or what is going to be transferred? Where it is going to be transferred? It is a transfer of what? Pollen grain. From where? It's from anther. To where? It's transferred from anther to a stigma of a carpet. This process is called as pollination process. Okay, students? Okay. Now, here, as you already know that the male gamete and female gamete both are stationary. So it needs a pollinating agent, like it needs a bee, or it needs a water, or it needs an insect, or it needs an animal. Any kind of a pollinating agent that is needed by it to transfer this pollen grain from anther to a stigma. But before we discuss the pollination agents or pollinating agents, we should learn what are the different types of pollination, or what are the different types of transfer processes which occurs. Okay? So this is, now we discuss this pollination process. The pollination process can be divided into two parts. First is called as self-pollination, and the second one is called as cross-pollination. How many types of pollination processes are there? There are two types of pollination processes are there: self-pollination, and the second one is called as cross-pollination. In a self-pollination, the name itself suggests a pollen grain of a same plant is transferred to a pollen grain of one flower is transferred to another flower, or the same flower of a same plant. This is known as self-pollination process. So again repeat, what is the self-pollination process? Self-pollination process, that means transfer of pollen grain from a flower to another flower of same plant or a different plant. Okay, so this is called as, it's called as a self-pollination process. Okay, so usually it occurs within the same flower or it occurs within the different flowers. Okay, so this is called as self-pollination. Most of the times it is occurs within the same flower. Okay, so based on that, the self-pollination can be divided into two parts. First is called as autogamy, and the second one is called as geitonogamy. Okay, and what is called as the cross-pollination? The cross-pollination, that means a transfer of pollen grain from one plant to another plant. Okay, flower of one plant to a flower of another plant. Okay, this is called as cross-pollination process. Okay, so there is a difference between a self-pollination and a cross-pollination. In the self-pollination, a pollen grain is going to be transferred from a flower to another flower. Okay, of same plant. Okay, so this is called as a self-pollination. And what is called as a cross-pollination? Cross-pollination, that means it is a transfer of pollen grain from a flower to another flower of a different plant. This is called as a cross-pollination process. Okay, in the first case, the plant will be the same. In the second case, it is the plant is a different plant. Okay. So now you know that self-pollination. How many types of self-pollination? Autogamy and the geitonogamy. Both are the types of self-pollination. So how the process occurs? Suppose assume that this is the plant. It begins a flower. Assume that this is a flower which is present in the plant. It contains a male reproductive organ, and this is a female reproductive organ which is present in the flower. Okay, this is a male reproductive organ. Answer is Biotic. And this is the female reproductive organ. Now, how this transfer process occurs? In autogamy. Auto means self. Okay, so this autogamy is reported in bisexual flower. In which case it is reported? It's reported into a bisexual flower. What is a bisexual flower? Bisexual flower means it's a flower. This is a flower. A flower possesses both sex organs. One is male stamen and the second one is a carpel, a female part. Okay, they both are present in the same flower. This is called as a bisexual flower. So here the pollen grain which is going to be released. These are the pollen grain which is going to be released. It's transferred to a stigma of a carpet of same flower. This is the within a flower it occurs of same plant. This type of pollination is called as autogamy. What it is called as autogamy. Okay. So what is autogamy? Autogamy means it's a transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma, anther to a stigma of a carpel of same flower of a same plant. This is called as autogamy. Okay. Okay. Clear, students? Now what is the geitonogamy? What is the geitonogamy? So I draw over here. What is the geitonogamy? Suppose assume that this is a plant. Okay? This is a flower. Now, this is a male sexual organ. Third, this is the female. This is a male sexual organ. 7, and this is a female carpet. Okay. So what is the geitonogamy? Here the pollen grain is released from anther. That is transferred to another flower. Stigma of another flower. Okay? Stigma of a carpel of another flower, but the plant remains the same. This type of pollination is called as geitonogamy. What's called as Geitonogamy. Clear? Okay. Autogamy and the geitonogamy, they are the types of self-pollination process. Okay. In autogamy, a transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpel of same flower of same plant. This is called as autogamy. What is called as a geitonogamy? A transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpel of another flower. This is another flower, two different flowers, but the plant is same, of same plant. This is called as geitonogamy. Okay. So these are the types of autogamy and geitonogamy are types of a self-pollination process. Okay. Now, what are the conditions in which the chances of autogamy is higher, or what are the conditions that leads to a autogamy? Means a type of a self-pollination where a pollen grain is transferred from anther to a stigma or of a carpel of same flower of a same plant. What it is? First thing, to autogamy occur, these are the conditions has to be followed. Then and then the chances of autogamy is high. So what are the chances that has to be followed? First one, here the anther and stigma both should mature at same time. Same time. Anther, that means anther and stigma both should mature at the same time. Okay, that means a time where the male gametes are produced, at the same time the stigma also should become a receptive, which can capable of taking a pollen grain which is released from the anther. Okay. The second condition to follow this autogamy, that anther or this stamen and carpet should be nearer to each other. They should be nearer to each other. As they are nearer to each other, then the chances of transfer is very high. So these are the conditions has to be followed, or that this condition they promote autogamy process, a type of a self-pollination process. So which condition promote self-pollination process? First, the anther and stigma should mature at the same time. It should not like that they mature at the different time. Okay? If they mature at the different time, the transfer is not possible and ultimately fertilization is not possible. Second, they should be nearer to each other. Okay? As they are nearer to each other, like they are present in the same flower, means they are nearer to each other. Okay? So the chances of fertilization and transfer is very high. So these are the conditions which has to be followed by plants. I will give you examples in which it is going to be followed. Like this condition, the anther and stigma becomes a receptive at the same time, or anther and stigma becomes a mature at the same time. This condition is called as homogamy. Okay, homo means same, gamy means gamete, means they produces the gamete at the same time. Why they produces the gamete at the same time? They mean stamen and carpet both are producing the gamete at the same time. Okay, so here they are producing the gamete at the same time. Why they produce the gametes at the same time? Because they mature at the same time. Okay? And this kind of a condition that is found in the plant called as Catharanthus roseus. What we commonly call it as bar mussel. Okay? So this homogamy condition promotes autogamy or a self-pollination process. Okay, clear students? So what is a homogamy? Homo means the same, gamy means gamete. Means in these cases, the male and female reproductive organs become mature at the same time. They produces the gamete at the same time, and it is observed in the Catharanthus roseus. If such condition is that, then the chances of autogamy is high because they become mature at the same time. Second condition, this also promotes autogamy. That means when the anther and stigma are nearer to each other, the chances are that the pollen grain falls on the stigma which is nearer to it. Okay, and so this is also promotes autogamy, and that is observed in a case of cleistogamy flower. Cleistogamy or cleistogamous flower. And this condition is called as cleistogamy. Cleistogamy, that means the flower which never opens up. You know that this is a flower which opens up. After certain times the flower gets opened up. But this other flower remains closed. When it remains closed, the anther and stigma, or you can say stamen and carpet, they remain within the same flower in a closed condition. So the pollen grain which is released, there is no chances that it will go outside because the flower is closed. Okay? It doesn't go outside. Flower is closed. In which condition the flower is closed? It is in cleistogamous flower, and this phenomenon is called as cleistogamy. Okay? And in these conditions, what happens? In certain category of plants, the stigma, or you can say a carpet, or you can say style of a carpet, more specifically I say a style of a carpet, it bends towards the anther. It bends towards the anther. Okay? The bending of style towards the anther that can be observed in a plant of Apiaceae, Lamiaceae, and Cactaceae family. Apiaceae, Lamiaceae, and Cactaceae family. In these cases, what happens? There is a bending of style towards the stamen, or you can say anther. And due to a bending of a style, they come nearer to each other. And when they come nearer to each other, the chances of autogamy is high. Okay? That also happens in the case of cleistogamy. In cleistogamy, the flower never opens up. When flower never opens up, the chances of pollen grain which goes outside, that almost nil or zero. So the pollen grain always falls onto the stigma of the same flower of same plant. This is what we call it as autogamy. And this is reported, the cleistogamous flower is reportedly Viola, oxalis, and Pomerania. Okay, it's reported into a Viola, oxalis, and Pomerania. The cleistogamy is reported. Okay, so these are the conditions: homogamy, cleistogamy, or both should be nearer to each other. They promote a self-pollination process, or what we call it as autogamy. What's called as autogamy. Clear? Next, the another one is geitonogamy. What is the geitonogamy? In geitonogamy, the transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpel of another flower. See, here the flower changes. Another flower, but the plant remains the same. This is called as geitonogamy. It's called as geitonogamy. Now there is a confusion. Should we consider it as a self-pollination, or shall we consider it as a cross-pollination? So here I have considered it under a self-pollination. The reason is that the plant remains the same. When the plant remains the same, means a living organism is the same. Okay? So that's why the genetics of the living organism also remains the same. Means the DNA of this flower and the DNA which is present in this flower also same, because it is of the same plant. Okay? So this is called as a type of a self-pollination. But else, you know that it is not the same flower. Here the transfer occurs to another flower. So it is, you can also call it as cross-pollination. Okay? So if you tell it that morphologically, means in the observation, it can be a cross-pollination. But if you say genetically, then genetically it's a self-pollination. As genetically it's a self-pollination, I have introduced in the self-pollination. In certain books, it is also shown as a type of a cross-pollination. The reason is that morphologically here the flower gets changed. Okay, so this is called as a cross-pollination in certain cases. Okay, so this is called as a geitonogamy. Clear, students? What's the autogamy and what's the geitonogamy? Autogamy, that means a transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpel of same flower of same plant. Okay. In geitonogamy, transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpel of another flower. Flower gets changed, but the plant remains the same. Another flower of same plant. This is called as geitonogamy. Okay. Now the third type, this is called as cross-pollination process. So let's start with the cross-pollination. Before I start the cross-pollination, I will also like to mention again what are the conditions that leads to or that promotes a self-pollination. First condition is homogamy. Homogamy means the anther and stigma becomes a mature at the same time, and it is observed in Catharensis roseus, commonly called as Barnasi. Second condition, in which the anther and stigma comes nearer to each other. Okay, how it occurs? The style. Suppose assume that this is a stamen and this is a carpet. Here the style gets bended towards the anther, so they come nearer to each other, and that is observed in which plant? Apiaceae, Lamiaceae, and Cactaceae family plants. Third is cleistogamy, that also promotes the self-pollination. In cleistogamy or cleistogamous flower, that means the flower which is never opens up. So the pollen grain doesn't go outside, it remains inside within the same flower, and so that also promotes a self-pollination process. Clear? Now the next type of a pollination process is a cross-pollination process. So let's start with the cross-pollination process. As you know that autogamy occurs in bisexual flower. Next, a cross-pollination usually is reported into a unisexual flower. Okay, what is a unisexual flower? The unisexual flower, that means it has either stamen or it has either carpet. If it has a stamen, then it is called as a male flower. If it has carpet, then it is called as a female flower. So what happens in this case? Suppose assume that this is a one plant and it has a flower. Suppose assume that it has a stamen. This is a stamen. It has stamen. It is a unisexual. It doesn't have a carpet. Stamen. So that's why this is a male flower. Male flower. Now it's another flower. Sorry, another plant. And in another plant is a flower. It has female reproductive organ like carpet. It is, as it is a female reproductive organ, it's carpet. This flower is called as female flower. So this is a plant which possesses the male flower, and this is a plant which possesses the female flower. Okay. Now, here the transfer of pollen grain. You know the pollen grain is released from anther, that means a male flower, that is transferred and reached to a stigma of carpel of another flower. The flower gets changed of another plant. Here plant gets changed also. But this type of pollination is called as cross pollination. What it is called as cross pollination. Okay. What is a cross-pollination? Cross-pollination, that means transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpel of another flower of another plant. This is called as cross-pollination. I just revised the definition so you can come to know the difference between autogamy, heteronogamy, and you can say a cross-pollination. In autogamy, the transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma or a carpel of same flower of same plant. Here the transfer of pollen grain from another flower of same plant. Okay, here same flower, same plant in autogamy, in heterogamy, another flower, same plant, and in cross pollination, another flower, another plant. Okay, so this is a kind of hybridization is going to be produced. Okay, so this is called as cross pollination. Cross pollination can also be called as allogamy. What's another name of cross-pollination? Cross-pollination can be called as allogamy process. Okay? Like you know that when there is a chances of self-pollination, when there is a homogamy, means becomes a mature at the same time. When the style comes nearer to a anther, or it bends towards the anther, okay? Or what happens? It happens in the case of cleistogamous flower. Similarly, when the cross-pollination takes place. Cross-pollination takes place in heterogamy. Homo means same, hetero means different. Homogamy means they become the mature at the same time. Here is a heterogamy. Hetero means different. They become the mature at different times. When they become the mature at different times, so here suppose assume that anther becomes a mature and this doesn't become a mature. So the pollination process is not sufficient to produce the fertilizer. Living organism is not capable of fertilizing, so this is not possible. Okay, but heterogamy, it promotes a cross pollination. So if they become the mature at different time, like this one and this one, okay, they mature at a different time. Okay, even though the pollen grain is transferred, it is not capable of fertilizing it because here it is mature, but this carpel or stigma doesn't become the mature. Okay, so this is called as heterogamy. Second one is heterostyly. What is the heterostyly? Heterostyly, that means I have just shown one carpel in a flower, but it is not necessary, as we have seen in the previous lecture. The carpel may be one or carpel may be many, monocarpellary or multicarpellary, or we have also seen the bicarpellary. The carpel may be many or carpel may be one. So if there are many carpels, it has many stigma style over it, but there is a difference in the style, length of a style. Difference in the length of a style. This is called as heterostyly. This heterostyly, it promotes it. Okay. Next third one is called as hercogamy. Hercogamy. What is the hercogamy? Hercogamy, that means there is a presence of a physical barrier. There is a presence of physical barrier between a anther and stigma. So the pollen grain doesn't transfer to this. It will transfer to another flower. Okay, so this is called as hercogamy. And next is self-sterility. Self-sterility is a genetic mechanism that will prevent a self-pollination or it promotes a cross-pollination. So these are the conditions which prevent the self-pollination that we will discuss in the another short note in outbreeding devices. But just remember the name: heterogamy, heterostyly, hercogamy, and self-sterility. Okay? Heterogamy means they become a mature at different time interval. Heterostyly means a difference in the length of a style. Hercogamy, that means there is a presence of physical barrier between a anther and stigma or stamen and carpel. Self-sterility means follow pollen grain of stigma doesn't guarantee it will germinate or it will fertilize. Or it's a genetic mechanism, that's called as self-sterility. So these are the conditions that promotes cross-pollination, okay, and they inhibit self-pollination process. Okay. Now the question comes in our mind: which is better one? Self-pollination is better or cross-pollination is better? Here the fertilization occurs within the same plant, and here the fertilization occurs between two different plants. Okay, so that happens in a cross-pollination process. Which is better? Okay, so let's see. If it is a self-fertilization, self-pollination or self, then what happens? The transfer occurs within the plant. Transfer of pollen grain occurs within a plant, and that is causing inbreeding depression. What is causes inbreeding depression? That's why we are not marrying to our brother or sister or our siblings, close relatives. We are not marrying with our close relatives because this is called as a kind of a self-fertilization. So here, if there is a self-pollination, then the self-fertilization occurs, and that causes an inbreeding depression. That means the chances of occurrence of genetic disorder is very high. Okay, that we will learn in the chapter number 5, how it occurs. Okay, so that's why we are not marrying with our close relatives like brothers, sisters, or siblings. We are not marrying. But cross-pollination, they will promote a better generations, and so that's why the better one is cross-pollination. In a self-pollination, the answer is in a self-pollination, which is better? The question is which is better one? Self-pollination or cross-pollination? So the answer is cross-pollination is better one, because in cross-pollination the chances of development of higher variety of a living organism or generations. Whereas in self-pollination there is a occurrence of inbreeding depression. They may lead to a genetic disorders. Okay, so that's why the pollination is better. So clear students, this is regarding pollination. Pollination means transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpet. It may be self, it may be cross. In a self pollination, transfer occurs within a same plant, either in the same flower or the another flower. Either in the same flower or the another flower. This is self pollination. And in cross pollination, the transfer occurs transfer occurs between two different flowers of two different plants. This is called as a cross pollination process. Okay, so we have learned autogamy, geitonogamy, and allogamy. Allogamy means cross pollination. The another name of cross pollination, allogamy. Okay, so that's all about pollination. Now let's move ahead with pollinating agents or pollination agents. Now you know the meaning of pollination. I hope everybody knows the meaning of pollination. It's a transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma of a carpel. This is called as pollination. Here it is transferred, but you know that both the gametes here are non-motile, means they cannot move. They need a help to transfer. And the agents which help in the transfer process, they are called as pollination agents. So what is pollination agents? Pollination agents are the agents or carriers. They help in a transfer of pollen grain from anther to a stigma. They are called as pollination agents. So now a question comes in our mind, who will help? So there are two kinds of pollination agents. First is called as abiotic pollination agents. Abiotic means non-living. And the second one is biotic pollination agents, that means living. How many types of pollination agents are there? Two types of pollination agents are there, abiotic and biotic. Okay, abiotic means non-living pollination agents and the biotic means the living pollination agents. What includes under the abiotic pollination agent? First, wind or air. Second, water. Here the pollen grain is transferred by either by air or water. This is called as abiotic pollination agents. The biotic includes animals, including insects. Okay, they are the biotic, they are the living. Okay, so there are two types of pollination agents, abiotic and biotic. Abiotic includes wind and water. The biotic includes animals and the insects. These are the pollination agents. In majority of a plant, the transfer means pollination occurs with the help of biotic agents. Okay, which agents? The majority of plants who will help in a pollination process, biotic means living organism help in the transfer of a pollen grain. Okay, but we have to discuss all. Okay, so we have to discuss all type of pollinating agents. Let's start with abiotic pollination agents. And abiotic includes what? Water and wind. First is wind. You know that wind is a abiotic pollination agent. What is the wind? Wind is a abiotic, non-living pollinating agent. Wind. When the wind is blown, it carries the pollen grain from anther to a stigma. Okay, so this type of pollination is this type of help is called as the pollination which is done by a bee. The pollination which occurs with the help of a bee, this is called as anemophily. What it is called as anemophily. Okay, what is the anemophily? Anemophily, that means a pollination that occurs with the help of a wing. This is called as anemophily. Now to transfer with the help of a wing, there are the certain characteristics a plant needs. Here the pollen grain is carried away by a wing. So the pollen grain which is present in such kind of a plant or in anemophily, the pollen grain should be small enough, it should be lighter in weight, it should be dry, it should be non-sticky. Okay, non-sticky, because if it is sticky, then it sticks to somewhere. The wind cannot carry it. So it should be a dry, it should be a non-sticky. These are the characteristics of pollen grain who transfer the pollen grains with the help of wind, or this is called as in anemophily. So those plants who pollinate with the help of anemophily, they have small, lighter, dry and non-sticky pollen grains. Now what should be the characteristic of the carpet of such kind of a plant? The carpet or the carpet or stigma or style should be such that it is a sticky, or it may be a feathery. Okay, why sticky? Because suppose assume that this is a carpet, it is a sticky. Pollen grain should be non-sticky. When the pollen grain comes over here and reaches to a stigma, once it reaches to a stigma, it should not go away. The wind should not carry it. So it should be a sticky, so it sticks the pollen grain. Or it should be a feathery with feathers. So the pollen grain can be occluded in the feather. Okay, or get engaged in the feather. So this is a characteristic of a carpet of a plant who pollinate with the help of a wing. Okay. Usually what happens in these cases, if you see the arrangement, suppose this is a plant. The male flower is present at the top and the female flower is present at the bottom. So the pollen grain which is carried away by wing can go to or transfer from anther to a stigma. Okay. Usually in these cases, the male flower is present at the top of a plant and the female flower is at the bottom. Reverse is not the case. Like this is not the case. This is female flower and this is male flower. If this is the case, when the female flower is at the top and the male flower at the bottom, then the transfer of pollen grain is not possible. Okay, because here the pollen grain, transfer of pollen grain like this is not possible, because wind cannot carry the pollen grain like in the upward directions. Okay, so this is not the case in the plant who pollinate with the help of a wing, but this is the case. So the pollen grain can easily fall off. There are very less chances that pollen grain will rise along with a wind current. Okay, and this type of pollination is found in maize, coconuts, or you can say grasses, etc. This type of pollination is found. Okay, or this pollinating agent will help, and this is an abiotic. I can repeat, the first abiotic agent which helps in a pollination is a bee. Pollination which occurs with the help of a bee is called as anemophily. The characteristic of plants who pollinate with the help of a bee, the pollen grain of such plant is such that it should be small, lighter and dry, so it can easily carried away along with a wind current. The carpet of such a plant is the carpet of a plant who pollinate by wind is such that it should be sticky or feathery, so it can receive the incoming pollen grains. It is usually what happens, the male flower should be present at the top and the female flower at the bottom, which facilitates anemophily. But if the reverse, female flower at the top and male flower at the bottom, then it doesn't facilitate anemophily. It occurs in which cases? It occurs in maize, coconut, grasses, etc. So this is a first agent which shows the pollination can occur by wind. Another abiotic agent by which a pollination takes place, and that is water. Water is the another agent, abiotic agent. Okay, so this is also abiotic agent, non-living agent which help in a pollination process. Okay, and the pollination with the help of water is called as hydrophily. what is called as hydrophily. Okay, so clear students, the pollination with the help of wind is called as anemophily, and the pollination with the help of water is called as hydrophily. This hydrophily with a pollination with the help of water is observed in a monopod plant. It is only observed up to just 30 genera. There are limited quantity of a plant. Only 30 genera, they shows a pollination with the help of a water. And all these plants are monopod plants. Okay? So, it is only observed in hydrophily is only limited up to a 30 genera of all monocotyledonous plants. I will give you a few examples in which it is reported. It is reported into a hydrilla. It is also reported into a Vallisneria. It's reported into a Zostera. Okay, these all are aquatic plants, means the plants which grows in water. Rather, this hydrilla and Vallisneria, they grow in fresh water. And in Zostera, it grows in marine water, sea water. Okay. So which are the examples of a plant in which hydrophily or the pollination with the help of water is seen? Hydrilla, Vallisneria and Zostera. These are the plants in which pollination occurs. Hydrilla and Vallisneria are freshwater plants and Zostera is a marine plant. Okay, so it grows in marine water. You can also call it as marine grass. Zostera can also be called as marine grasses. Now we have to understand how the pollination occurs in these cases. Let's understand with the example of Vallisneria. Suppose assume that this is a water. The plants who pollinate with the help of water, they are usually aquatic plants, means they grow in the water. So here the plant is present within a water. Okay? It has two flowers. Male flower and the second one is female flower. The female flower is long stalk and it is highly coiled stalk. It has long and highly coiled stalk is with the female flower. Okay? Both kinds of flower is present in case of Vallisneria. I am dictating the hydrophily with the example of Vallisneria. How it occurs. Let's see how it occurs. When there is a need to transfer a pollen grain, what happens? This male flower comes at the surface, and releases the pollen grain. This pollen grain, you know, that very lighter in weight, so obviously they flow in the water surface, flow on the water surface. Okay, it flow on the water surface. Now what happens? These pollen grain are such that they are lighter, so they can easily float. Now this female flower has a long and highly coiled stalk, so the stalk becomes uncoiled. And the female flower goes to a surface. The stigma of this female flower is such that it is sticky. It is sticky. So the pollen grain which is flowing into a water current, they can easily attach with this sticky stigma of female flower. Once it is attached, the female flower again goes back into water. Again goes back into water. Okay? So this type of pollination occurs in case of Vallisneria. I again repeat how the pollination occurs in a Vallisneria. In Vallisneria, it is an aquatic plant. It grows in fresh water. It possesses both male flower as well as female flower. Both the flowers are present in the water. When the pollen grain has to be released, the male flower releases the pollen grain at the surface. Pollen grains are very lighter in weight, so they float on the surface of the water. Now the female flower, it has very long and highly coiled stalk, so it uncoils and goes to a surface. The stigma of such a flower or female flower is sticky, so it accepts the pollen grain which is floating on the surface of the water, and then it goes back inside the water, and thus the pollination occurs in case of Pollination. Clear? So this is a pollination which occurs in a Pollination. Now, how it occurs in Zostera? Zostera is a in Zostera, both the flowers remain inside. They remain submerged in the water. Here the flower comes on the surface. Male and female flower comes on the surface of the water in case of Pollination. But in case of Zostera, the flowers remain submerged within the water and the pollen grain is released in the water. Not on the surface of the water. Remember, in Pollination, the pollen grain is released on the surface of water. In Zostera, the pollen grain that is submerged within the water. And now this pollen grain is taken up by female flower or the stigma of a female flower. That happens with the case of Zostera. But whether it is on the surface of water or whether it is in the water, the chances are that the pollen grain may become wet and it may get damaged. And to prevent a damage of this pollen grain is covered by a specific layer called as mucilage. Mucilage, they prevent a water wetting, okay, and so that's why the chances of this pollen grain damaged by water is very less. Okay, so this is happens with the case of Pollination and Zostera. The pollen grain of such plants, they are covered by a mucilage which prevents wetting of pollen grain. Okay, so this is called as hydrophily, a pollination with the help of water. The example of Pollination is very important, and most of the times they are asking, they explain the hydrophily with the example of Pollination. Okay, so you have to show the example how the male flower comes to a surface. There is the pollen grain remains the flower. How the female flower comes to a surface, then it goes back, takes up the stigma of this female flower is sticky, so it accepts. Okay, and so you have to explain in the hydrophily in the case of Pollination. Okay, in Zostera, the pollen grain remains submerged within a water. So this is pollination with the help of wind, and this is pollination with the help of water. Okay. Now, so that's all about the abiotic agent who help in the pollination process. Now the biotic agent, how it helps in pollination process. Biotic agents, that means living things, they help in the pollination. If the animal will help in pollination, such kind of pollination is called as zoophily. Okay, the pollination which occurs with the help of animals is called as zoophily. Which animals they help in the pollination process? There are lots of animals which help in the pollination process. Like for example, bat, bird, like hummingbird. I'm giving you example which help in pollination. Hummingbird, sunbird. These are the birds which help in the pollination process. Squirrel. These are relatively smaller animals which help in the pollination process. Apart from that, the other animals which also help in the pollination process are lizards, reptiles like lizards. Next, it's a lemur. It's a large animal which help in the pollination process. Next, it's you can say that arboreal rodents, or you can say another one. They can also be called as tree-dwelling rodents. They also help in a pollination process. So these are the examples of animals which help in a pollination process. Which are the examples? Bat, bird, squirrel, lizard, lemur, arboreal rodents. They help in the pollination. And pollination with the help of animals is called as zoophily. Okay. Next, a pollination with the help of insects. Animals also include insects, but I will discuss the pollination with help of insects separately. So pollination with help of insects is called as entomophily. Pollination with the help of insects is called as entomophily. Before I start the entomophily, I just revise the names. Pollination by water is called as anemophily. Pollination by air is called as anemophily. Pollination by water is called as hydrophily. Pollination with help of animals is called as zoophily. And pollination with help of insects is called as entomophily. Which insect they help in the pollination agents? So here the agents like butterfly, fly, beetles, all these are insects, wasps, moths, there are lots of insects, even ants. These are the insects which help in a pollination agent. I just discussed a few of the examples of insects which help in a pollination. Which insects they help in a pollination process? Butterfly, fly, beetle, wasp, moth and ant. They are pollinated with the help of insects. These plants which are pollinated by insects, but you have to remember the two examples which are pollinated by insects. First is Amorphophallus. This Amorphophallus is pollinated by flies. Okay, the flowers of this Amorphophallus is such that it is at a height. It is, I think, above a height of more than 6 feet. So fly can easily reach over that height, and they help in a pollination process. So the pollination in Amorphophallus that is achieved with the help of fly. And in yucca plant, this is the name of a plant, yucca plant, the pollination is achieved with an insect called as moth. Okay, you have to remember these two examples, they are important. In Amorphophallus, the pollination occurs with fly, and the yucca, it occurs by moth. Here, those plants which pollinate with the help of insects, these plants should be such that they should attract the insects, and to attract the insects, they have a nectar, okay, or they have a very good inflorescence. Like their appearance is such that, or their color is so bright, the insect will attract towards it, or they have a fragrance, a very good smell, so the insect will easily attract it towards it, or the insect visit over it to eat its pollen grain, because this pollen grain is food for that insect. Okay, so the flowers of plants who pollinate with help of insect are such that they possess either nectar or they have an inflorescence, very good appearance, okay, and with bright colors, very good fragrance, so the insect can easily attract it towards it. They have a large number of pollen grains which is going to be produced by it, and that pollen grain is acting as a food for the insect, so the insect will easily. That means these plants have such kind of a reward system, so the insect will visit that plant again and again, again and again. The insect comes for certain reasons, either for pollen grain, or either for fragrances, or either for lure or attraction, or either for nectar. But when they come or visit the flower, the pollen grain attaches on the surfaces of insects, and then they visit the other flower, and thus the pollen grain is going to be transferred. So this is a pollination with the help of insect, what we call it as entomophily. So these are the pollination agents. I just revised. There are two types of pollination agents: biotic and abiotic. Biotic means living pollination agent, abiotic means non-living pollination agents. Abiotic includes wind and water. Pollination by wind is called as anemophily, and the pollination by water is called as hydrophily. Which plant is pollinated by wind? It's a maize, coconut, they are pollinated by wind. Which plant is pollinated by water? It is hydrilla, Vallisneria and Zostera, they are pollinated by water. Next, pollination by animals is called as zoophily. and pollination by insect is called as entomophily. Then that is a type of biotic pollination agents. So today we have completed 2 points which help in a gamete transfer process. One is pollination and the second one is pollination agents that we have finished. Okay. Thank you for watching. Subscribe this channel and learn it. Okay. We will meet in the next session where we will discuss the another topic which relates with the fertilization. Okay. Till then, keep watching. Thank you.